Freestyle travel. Hey everybody, Kenny Flannery here, your host as always, and we're going to cover a lot of ground in this podcast. Specifically, we are going to hitchhike together from Asheville, North Carolina to Denver, Colorado, which is where I am right now. 64 total rides. I'm going to have to look at my notes while I'm doing this one. It's been a hell of a month, the past month. So yeah, in short, I'm going to take you from North Carolina to Indiana to Michigan to Minnesota to Iowa to Kansas. And Kansas got a little messy. I don't know how many police are going to be in this story, but at least 4 in Kansas. A couple written warnings had to deal with. Yeah, Kansas is probably that was the stretch right there. But yeah, catching up with a lot of friends, seeing some new places, having some good times, generosity on the road, some Knicks games along the way, all kinds of stuff. Just winding up in odd places, meeting a woman who bought an old Air Force base with some other people. All kinds of stuff. Like I said, I'm going to have to look at my notes for this one. 64 damn rides. I'm not going to go over all 64 rides. If you want that kind of detail, you can get on my Patreon. Patreon.com/KennyFlannery. Some of you guys are on there already. If you don't know about that, you can pay $6 a month to kind of support my travels. And I post some like extra stuff on there. Most notably, like a micro podcast. So while this stuff is fresh in my head, these different rides and different things that go on throughout the day. You know, sometimes when I'm hitchhiking, I'll get 10, 15 rides in a day and try to note everything down. But if you're into that kind of thing and, you know, basically want to, well, shit, $6 isn't even really a beer anymore, not a craft beer. God damn, I'm in Denver right now and it's like $9, $10. There's one brewery I want to go to. It's like $14 for an 8-ounce Imperial Stout. It's more than $1 an ounce. It's almost $2 an ounce. God damn. So for less than a beer a month, you can hear a bunch of my stories in detail, but I'm going to get into a lot on this one because it's been a great month. Before I get into it, mention some trip hopping updates. I have had some time to get back into the code a little bit more. Definitely took a little break when I was down in South America, running around and down south, but I've had some opportunities lately to get back into the coding. The big thing I did recently was make places more fun. So you can you've been able to favorite places on trip hopping, which is cool because you can see what other members are favoriting. But now you can add stuff to your to-go list, which is kind of like a wish list of places you want to go to. And those will always pop up when you're close to them to kind of remind you, hey, someone told you about this. And you can suggest places too. So I don't know, if you're at a cool brewery, follow me on trip hopping and suggest it to me, and that'll stay persistent on my app, which will be cool because then I'll know to go there. And also wired in a little bit of AI and allow people to do custom prompts and stuff. So if you have searches that you do regularly, like for me, for example, if I get dropped off in a new city and I know I'm probably going to have to camp there or something, I do want to check out breweries and dive bars and things like that. And usually that'd be 2 different Google Maps searches. But in trip hopping now, you can have a prompt that kind of just does both of those searches in one. Say, I want to find breweries or dive bars with shuffleboard tables. And it'll pop up all the places on the map that fit that criteria. Or for me, sometimes if I want to get trip hopping stuff done, I just want cool Wi-Fi spots. So made a custom prompt to find public libraries and coffee shops and other things. So check that out if you're already on the trip hopping app, or just jump on there. It's all free. So that's what's up. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else really to catch you up on. So let me dive back into Asheville, North Carolina, and we're gonna hitch 64 rides and see a bunch of friends. So let's take this journey. Alright, so the last episode you might have listened to or even watched. I had my friend Christian on the show, and as usual, when I have a guest on the show, I do video. When it's just me like this, it's just audio. But we did the podcast driving up from Mississippi, and I ended up going all the way to North Carolina with him. Asheville. And I was kind of on my own at that point because he was catching up with, I don't know what he was catching up, a girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, whatever you want to call it. But I was on my own. So that first night I was in town, I actually remembered I had a buddy in town that I met volunteering for couch surfing from back in the day. And he said he'd be able to like catch up for like a coffee or some lunch the next day. And I ran around, got a little bit of good craft beer, couple different spots, Burial being my favorite brewery. Ended up having a stealth camp as usual, and I found this weird like concrete abandoned kind of structure up on a hill close to the highway, but it clearly been like lived in by homeless people and stuff, which is essentially what I was that night. So when I find spots like that, they're like seemingly perfect, but it's like too perfect, you know, because I don't want to like crash out somewhere like there and then an hour or two later someone who kind of like actually lives there shows up. I'm essentially in their home. So I kind of crawled up the hill from that spot and found a good place to tuck away. That's the beauty of the bivy sack, in my case the bivy pack, which was brand new at this point. If you listen to the last episode, you know that I made a new pack while I was in Mississippi, so been getting my use out of that. It's been pretty great, actually. I still keep saying I gotta make a video about that, showing off that pack, and I will at some point when I get the time. So camped out, and then the next day screwing around, and eventually did catch up with my buddy. He used to be the designer for couch surfing. He designed that logo, so if you see the couch surfing logo, that was Ben. He made that. I caught up with him for lunch, and he's like, yeah, you can just like crash in the Airstream in the yard for a night or two if you want to. And I was like, oh, cool. And his wife, he's got 3 kids now too, also volunteered for couch surfing, so I know her from back in those days too. So that was really fun catching up with them. He's got a cool little spot there in North Carolina, a bunch of chickens in the backyard, and you know, we were able just to geek out on tech stuff. And he had like the Apple Vision Pro, I think it's called, and Meta glasses and different little toys. Got to kind of play with, check them out. He's got like a 3D printer and other junk like that, so pretty fun hanging out with him, catching up on everything. And from there, I wanted to go to Indianapolis to see a friend of mine there. That was the next step. Actually, Asheville is more of a distraction because that's where I was wanting to go from Mississippi, is Indianapolis, to see my buddy KP up there. So got on the road. Ben dropped me off just north of the city. And at this point, I'm just thinking I'm generally going to be hitchhiking, you know, towards Indiana and west. Beginning of the podcast, I told you how this all ended up. I'm in Denver now. That's kind of what I was thinking. I wasn't, and I'm still not in a hurry. Just kind of wanting to go to some northern states and head west while I'm in the United States. The northern states are pretty nice to be in this time of year, getting into summer here. So hitchhiked. The first ride I got was just awesome because I was in kind of just like a random-ish spot, not like a major interstate or anything, and this guy picked me up and he's like, I'm going to St. Louis. I'm like, oh shit, which is hours and hours and hours away. So that was super cool, and he was a really interesting guy. So we chatted nonstop for several hours, and I even thought about going to St. Louis and then backtracking to Indianapolis, and I messaged my buddy from St. Louis, and he's like, oh, I'm on a contract in Indianapolis right now. I'm like, oh shit, well that's where I'm really going. Sweet. So I ended up bailing out southern Indiana pretty much, or just shy of that. Ended up hitchhiking like 6 more rides that day, but they're all pretty short, like one 18-wheeler for like 10 minutes, and this ride and that ride, and some dude who got me some chicken strips and some Red Bull and dropped me off at a gas station. Some short rides. Anyways, by the time it was getting dark, it was also starting to rain a little bit. So I found a place to tuck under the overpass from the highway, next to train tracks kind of thing. Classic little spot, way off the beaten path, just the way I like it. Nice and hidden, not worried about being discovered by looky-loo randoms, police, or, you know, other people sleeping outside. Always trying to stay hidden while I'm stealth camping, so that was a good spot for that. And got on the road the next day, and all it took was 2 rides. One one short ride, and then one guy who was going all the way to Indianapolis. Actually, a dude who spent 5 years in prison because he got busted making meth, but he was actually kind of an interesting dude. Said he went to jail, but it was more like a camp. He kind of was able just to clean himself up, and heard that kind of story before. But he dropped me off in Indianapolis, and then spent several days or maybe even a week or something hanging out with my buddy there in Indianapolis. Someone I originally met on couch surfing, and yeah, every time I can pass through the Midwest, I go out of my way to go catch up with him. So that was pretty good. We drank some good beers. There's a Deviate Brewing is one we usually go to, and then another one just north of the city. And just chill. I got some coding done. Pretty good time altogether. And like I mentioned, a friend of mine from St. Louis he's like in the medical field, so it's like a 12-week contract or something in Indianapolis. So I went and kicked it with him for a couple nights, different part of the city. Grabbed some beers and caught up with him. Talk of going to Japan, actually. He's wanting to go to Japan. He's got a bunch of yen that he bought a while back, and he's wanting to go over there maybe in like October or November. So I'm thinking about doing that. At the moment, I'm like real broke. I'm double figures, so less than $100 to my name. So I got to figure that out, because also he's got a shit ton of money. Like he's not worried about anything. So I'm not really sure if I can like hang with him, because he's definitely not going to be like hitchhiking or probably not wanting to couch surf. So we got to see if we can be compatible in a trip to go over there. But it would be super fun. He's a good guy. Kind of know him through another friend in Chico and fantasy football stuff. But yeah, we had a good time anyways, talking about that possibility. So went and spent another night or two with my other buddy, and before wanting to head up to Lansing, Michigan, where I've got another friend that I originally met in Vegas. I've seen him all over the place, so I'm like, oh, that'll be cool. I'll go up there and maybe head to Minneapolis afterwards. Not sure which way I was going to go, but just take a little sippy sip right here. Nice. Is that like a coffee shop brewery combination earlier today here in Denver? And they don't have a coffee beer. I'm like, what are you guys doing? It's like the most obvious beer you should brew. It's like, have a coffee blonde or, coffee stout. It only makes sense. But they did not. So anyways, my buddy dropped me off a little north of Indianapolis. A little bit of drama with his dog. His dog like ran out of the truck when he was gonna treat me to a Waffle House before turning back home. And as we got out of the truck, the dog ran away, bolted. So I chased this dog around truck stops and main road for like 20 minutes because he was going in the marsh and stuff. Almost got hit by a trailer. So that was a little to do, but got him back to the truck and had some Waffle House, and then started hitchhiking up to Lansing. Managed to make it in a day. Took a dozen rides to get up to Lansing. So that was like, I don't know what is that, like 20 minutes per ride or something. So it was kind of one ride after another, but just not very far each time. So bunch of interesting rides in there. There's some guy who works like in the freezer department. Not the freezer distribution center for Walmart or Target or something. It's like negative 10 degrees or something like insanely cold. Just thought that was kind of interesting. Some guy from Thailand who thinks monks are super racist and closed-minded, and he's happy to be in the United States. Some 19-year-old from Honduras that like snuck his way over here. A bunch of interesting rides, but the last one was the one I wish had lasted a little bit longer. It was this girl in a van. She kind of passed me, and like, I know the look when someone wants to pick me up, and they don't always pick me up, but I know the look, and she gave me the look and kept driving. I was like, God damn. And then sure enough, she U-turned, came back and got me. She was kind of interesting. Because she is living in a van. I mean, that's awesome. And she was on her way to Maine. So she was going to she was going through Lansing, which is where I was going. So that was perfect. That was my last ride. But she was on her way to the border to cut across Canada and go to Maine. but she had been on this show. I'm forgetting the name of it, but it was one of those like Survivor-ish kind of shows where there's a bunch of people, I think it was up in Alaska, and they're just like trying to survive in groups. It was some Netflix show. If I can think of the name, I'll tell you, because I ended up watching it. So she's running around, just having a good time, traveling. So she dropped me off, and my buddy picked me up. Sorry, I'm just trying to think of the name of that show. Not Survivor. Outlast. I think it was called Outlast. Yeah. So if you get on Netflix, it's Outlast, and I'm forgetting her name and everything. Emily. So she'll be Emily on the show, like a biologist. So pretty interesting. But like I said, that day was just chock full of 20-minute rides, and so she was another one of those like 25-minute rides. But yeah, she got me to Lansing, and yeah, I was able to catch up with my buddy there, his girlfriend, and just have a pretty good time hanging out. I think it was like Memorial Day or something, so just kicking it, chilling it. He's got a pretty cool car, driving around in that. Yeah, drinking some decent little Michigan beers and things. There's this place called Horrocks, if you're ever in Horrocks, whatever it's called. I call it Horrocks, but it's in Lansing, Michigan. If you bring it up, it's like a gigantic grocery store, beer garden, everything. Like, it's just huge. Everybody knows about it. It's swamped. There's probably like hundreds of people there at any given time. Very cool. You can go to like a back bar area, which is like a gigantic beer, liquor, wine store, but you can also order from like one of 20 different beers and then walk around and shop with your beer. And like I said, there's a beer garden there and everything you can think of. Like, just picture a gigantic grocery store with cheese curds and fresh stuff and whole big section of flowers and plants and whatever. It's called Horrocks. Horrocks? I don't know. If you're ever in Lansing, Michigan, it's one of the few awesome things there. Remember the first time I went to Lansing, Michigan, I was most excited about seeing the Magic Johnson statue, because that was like the first athlete I became aware of. I was just like, Magic Johnson, this guy's fucking awesome. That's how I became a Lakers fan, even though I grew up in the Northeast. So yeah, I had to go see that statue, but yeah, Lansing's kind of a strange town. If you were to list your top 5 or top 10 places in Michigan, Lansing would probably not be on that list, but there's a few things there, and Horrocks is one of them. Magic Johnson statue and Horrocks. So yeah, had a good time catching up with him. Yeah, kind of when I get to the Midwest, it's the same thing. I've done that exact hitch several times before, going from my buddy KP's to Luke's up there in Michigan. Always make it one day. One time a cop picked me up hitchhiking on the road, and he was cool. He gave me an 80-mile ride up to Fort Wayne on that same stretch. That was kind of nice. But yeah, my birthday was in that stretch, so had some extra birthday beers and just kicked it. And I knew I wanted to go to Minneapolis next to see yet another person I met volunteering for couch surfing back in the day in Minneapolis, and I was trying to decide whether I should go south through Chicago or up through the UP. And yeah, the UP is going to be way more beautiful, so I decided to go up that way so I wouldn't be getting stuck in the Chicago stuff. May or may not have people there, So decided to hitch north, and that was one of the more beautiful things I've done this stretch. I've been up to the UP before, the Upper Peninsula, Michigan, but I always try to take like a slightly different route, see something a little bit different. So this was cool. Day kind of started off slow. Again, like kind of just short rides, 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there. But eventually this dude picked me up and he was going the distance. So with him, we got over the bridge. He stopped at like a weed store. Also got us like some weed chocolates and yeah, a couple PBRs. Just cruise with those. We stopped at some bar, talked to some people there, and camped outside of some casino had like a campground out there. So we got there real late, slept for a few hours, and got up pretty early, and took me a little bit further. And from there, I jumped off and parted ways with him and hitched up to Marquette, Michigan, which which is one of the bigger cities. Not that it's a big city by any means, but by Upper Peninsula standards it is, and there's a school there. So I want to go there and check it out. So kind of hung around there for the day. Again, hit a brewery. Take another sip here. And I was making some friends at the brewery, and then I went to a dive bar to watch the NBA playoffs. At that time, Spurs Thunder series was going on. If you don't watch basketball, that doesn't mean much to you, but it was pretty excellent series right before the finals. So I was watching that, and then they're like, yeah, if you come... Or no, I wasn't watching that. I'm just lying right now. The next night, I decided to stay and watch that, because that dive bar had $2 PBRs, which is the way it should be. And they're like, yeah, if you come back tomorrow, it's Thursday. So every Thursday we have $1 PBRs. And the game was on Thursday. So I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to stay in town for an extra day, because I'm going to watch this game at a bar. It might as well be one that has dollar beers, you know, because I'm either drinking the best craft beer I can find, which, like I said, can be stupid, $14 for 8 ounces, or I'm drinking PBR for as cheaply as possible. Not much middle ground there. So yeah, stuck around town for another day. I stealth camped both the nights I was in town, different spot each night. Got up to the Black Rocks. There's a brewery called Black Rocks, which I also went to, but it's named after the Black Rocks in the north of town. Pretty cool, I guess. Later in the summer, there'd be more people like cliff jumping and stuff like that. Got up there. I took a little drone footage. I must have posted some of that. I guess check out my Instagram, Hobo Lifestyle. Scroll back a couple things, maybe you'll see it, if I did post it. I think I did. Yeah, so went back there for the game, and I always like little towns like that, because even if I stick around for 2 days, I end up like running into people that I met already. Kind of just fast friends, so same thing. Went to that dive bar, there's already some people I met, and then throughout the night, other people came in. They're like, Kenny, what's up? You're still in town? So, kind of fun. Watched that game, camped out again, and then, yeah, got it moving. Once again, in the morning, there's another peninsula up there I wanted to check out. What's the name of that? See, I gotta, like, look at some of my notes and stuff just to remember. Oh, Copper Harbor. Yeah, a few people were telling me to go to Copper Harbor. My buddy's girlfriend mentioned some bakery up there run by monks or something. Check that out, and just said it'd be cool to get up there. So I did. So yeah, I hitchhiked there. It took like 7 rides to get up there. And the cool part about that was I did stop in like whatever the little town is. There's like Quinoa Brewery, which there's particular beer I'd had a few times, so I want to stop at the brewery itself. And the brewery itself, like, you know, good on them that the beers were like $4 and a quarter. That's as good as it gets for craft beer. But yeah, the beer really sucked, which I hate to say that. Like, the first beer is okay, and the second beer is one of the worst beers I've ever had. You know, it's like bottom 10 or 15. I don't know. It was bad. It was bad enough that I didn't stick around to drink more $4.25 beers, which any other brewery, I'd have been there for 3 or 4 beers, and which might have turned into 6 or 7, because I would have met people and been having a good time. But instead, that second beer knocked me out. I'm like, nope, I'm going to keep going. Well, it's still daylight. And yeah, a couple more rides after that, and then I got a ride from this girl, and she was heading like halfway to the top of the peninsula where I was aiming for. I think actually the town of Copper Harbor. And she's like, yeah, me and these, I think 15 other people, like all went in and bought an old Air Force base that I guess has been decommissioned since the 70s. It used to be like a school, like school for bad kids or whatever. I know about that kind of shit. Straight up abandoned. Yeah, I guess it's been all kinds of things and all kinds of nothing just sitting there. But they just all came together and bought it. So she's like, there's a big tower we can get up on top of, and you can see a view of the whole peninsula. Do you want to check it out? And I'm like, yeah, dude. So did a little detour with her, and she showed me. And like, this place is legit. Like, it's got all the crazy equipment that you think an Air Force base would have, like, you know, satellite looking stuff and antennas and stuff. But then it's got like all these barracks. I don't know how many different buildings, 4, 5, 8 of them, barracks in different buildings. And then like several tiny little neighborhoods with like houses that are all just like empty. And, you know, they only have so much money, but so they can only put their attention to so much at a time. But it's like pretty cool. Like, it's the kind of place where you could start like a hell of a cult. Like, just because it's got that neighborhood and all like the official buildings, and it was sweet. So I guess they're just chipping away at it. You know, they got like 15 ideas and maybe 1 or 2 things they're focused on like getting running. But pretty cool. So she took me up to the top of that and one of the towers there, and yeah, sure enough, got like a whole view of everything. I think you could even see like Isle Royale like way in the distance on a clear day. So pretty cool. And then yeah, afterwards she drove me back up to the top of the peninsula where I was going, up to like a mini little what they called mountain there, so I could get a view there. And she drove off, and at that point the sun was going down, so found a place to camp. I'm like, all right, seen it. All the little pubs were closed. I don't know how many pubs were in that town, maybe just 2 or 3, but I would have jumped in had there been one open, but everything was closed. So just kind of walked around, checked stuff out, and then found a place to camp in the woods. Super easy there in Michigan to stealth camp. And yeah, at that point I'm pretty much like thinking about Minneapolis, but I was invested in the NBA series. So I'm like, all right, this next day I was like, all right, let me start hitchhiking towards Minneapolis. I was thinking maybe I'd go to Duluth if someone was going there, but I definitely wanted to see the game that was on that night. So it just turned into like a really slow day. It was just one of those days. And usually when you're on like I mean, at this point it's basically an island. It was an island. It kind of looks like a peninsula, but technically an island. And I just walked for like 3 hours without getting a ride, which is kind of crazy. Usually those island kind of vibes, hitchhiking is a little bit easier. People are just a little bit more cool. But these people were not. Until they were, or one guy was. I think he worked for the news. Maybe he's like the weather guy or something like that, or cameraman, I forget. He kind of told me. But he had like a newscaster voice. He was cool. He picked me up, and at that point I was trying to see that bakery, that Monk's Bakery that my friend had told me about. He knew exactly what I was talking about. You know, it's a small place, and drove me directly there. Went in and I got an overpriced peanut butter brownie with jam. I think jam is their whole thing. They had like 100 jars of different jams, that kind of thing. So it wasn't much to really look at, but I just, you know, it was just a tiny little shop. So I popped in and got a token brownie, and I'm like, all right. And then I kept walking, and again I walked for a long time until I finally got a ride back to that little town at the base of the peninsula, and I walked through that, stopped at a grocery store or something, and then got this short ride from a older guy, maybe like 70, who claimed, what did he say? That's where I got to look at my notes. He had a very specific number. Oh, he said he had an IQ of 260. Or no, 290 is what I wrote down. Yeah. He said his IQ is 290, and that he'd found a way for cars to run on water. I was like, oh shit, cool, man. So I'm like, can you tell me anything about that? He's like, yeah, I got it all worked out. I just need $20,000. So I'm trying to get an investment for $20,000, and so I can like finish it. And I'm like, how far do the cars go? Like on a tank of water. He's like, oh, they just go forever. And if I hadn't figured out he was full of shit already, I knew he was full of shit then. But once we stopped, he showed me some drawings that he had in his trunk. Tried to give me some book about something. And yeah, he just wasn't making too much sense, and his drawings were kind of basic. And said something about Steam. Oh, and then he threw something in there about like how ChatGPT had told him that he was on the right track. And I was like, all right, yeah. Okay, cool, man. So he dropped me off, and I did try to hitchhike out of that little town for a bit, but it was getting a little bit later, and I didn't want to get stuck in the middle of nowhere and miss the game. I think it was Game 7 of that Thunder Spurs series. Again, if you don't follow basketball, it doesn't mean much, but it was the biggest game of the year at that moment, and I wanted to watch it because I fucking like basketball. So there was a bar in town, so I went there, and bartender girl was kind of cute, and everyone else in there was kind of crazy. So she threw on the game for me, which was cool, and cheap PBRs once again. I mean, I was there for several hours, and at the end of it, she's like, "That'll be $10, please." I'm like, "Man, I just had like 100 beers." Cool. So yeah, walked out of town, found a place to camp after that, and yeah, the next day I was able to make it all the way to Minneapolis to catch up with my friend there. That day I got 4 rides. One dude had just been camping on that Isle Royale. So Isle Royale, if you don't know about it, if you ever hear someone say that they camped on the biggest island on the biggest lake on the biggest island on the biggest lake in the world, they're talking about an island on the island of Isle Royale. So that might not make a ton of sense, but that's what it is. That's how I've heard of it anyways. So I wanted to go check it out. So Lake Superior, I guess, is the biggest lake in the world, and the biggest island in Lake Superior is Isle Royale. But on Isle Royale, there's many lakes, and the biggest of those lakes has a tiny island on it, and you can camp there, which is cool. This guy just was on the Isle Royale, now whatever that island within that island is. You follow me? I've always wanted to go there, but you either got to fly there or take some like $100 ferry or something I couldn't afford to do right now. But at some point I want to get there for sure. Sounds pretty cool. And he went there. So he flew, and now he was taking his truck back to Wisconsin, I guess he was going. So anyways, I rode with him as far as I could. And shit, I still have a freeze-dried meal that he gave me. I might eat that while I'm here. I probably should. So he was cool. And yeah, got a couple more rides cutting across. And then finally there was a guy going to Minneapolis, and he went out of his way to get me to my buddy's neighborhood, and boom, good old Nick. So Nick, as I mentioned, he was volunteering for couch surfing as well. He was a chef up in Alaska back in the day when I went up there, doing that whole couch surfing thing, and we've been friends ever since. I've seen Nick in more countries and states than anybody, for sure. I've seen him, all over the U.S. in different states. I've seen him in Thailand, I've seen him in Australia, I've seen him Istanbul, I've seen him in the Netherlands, just all over the place, and Minneapolis. So he's got a couple kids up there and a wife. They're all cool. So I kicked it with him for a few days, just catching up, watching some more basketball. At that point, the Knicks series started, the actual finals. Again, more basketball stuff, but this is prime time for basketball. So I was watching some of those finals games with him and eating some good food. Always good food with Nick. Like I said, he was the cook up there, so we're always trying to find good donuts or fried chicken wings, different stuff. He lived in Memphis for a while, so we'd like run around town just eating the best stuff humanly possible. So it was more of that, catching up with him. And yeah, the next stop from Minneapolis in my mind was Sioux City, Iowa. So if you're a longtime listener of this podcast, you've probably seen and or heard the episodes with Liz Stewart. And I'm kind of surprised that we didn't do an episode. She just wasn't totally into it, and then she kind of was thinking about it, and then we just didn't get to it. But usually I would do an episode with her. But that was my target, Sioux City, to see Liz from Minneapolis. So that day started off pretty good. Nick gave me a ride like south of the city to get hitchhiking, and got a short ride, but then I got a ride from this 82-year-old guy who grew up in Brooklyn, and he's living in Minnesota now, and he was on his way to a farm that he'd like given to his kids down south Minnesota. And he was cool. He was just telling me stories about like growing up in Brooklyn, because he lived there until he was like 30 or something, and just telling me stories about meeting like Jack Dempsey at a horse race and betting on stuff with him, and when he was a kid, and like meeting Buddy Hackett at some party, and then hearing Buddy Hackett talk about some charity event, and then like sneaking into this charity event with like some friends of his and almost getting caught, and then being noticed by Buddy Hackett, who like came over and slapped him on the back. He's like, oh, okay, that's my buddy, and getting introduced to Lucille Ball. And if you don't know that the names that I'm mentioning, they're all just like kind of legends from a generation or two before my time even. But yeah, it was kind of interesting to hear. He also had some story, a buddy of his that he went to high school. They're making the Verrazano Bridge, one of the big bridges around New York City. And his buddy, when they were pouring concrete for the bridge, his buddy fell in, and they couldn't stop the concrete machine, and just got encased in there. And yeah, he's still there. He's just entombed in the Verrazano Bridge. I'm like, fuck, dude, that's wild. You know, and this is a known thing. Like, the cops came, it's just like, you know, well, that's where he is. We're not tearing up this bridge we just built to dig him out, or the pillar of the bridge. So that is his tomb. I'm like, did they put a plaque up for him or something? He's like, oh, I don't know about that. So I have to look that up. You'd hope they'd put up like some kind of plaque, like fucking, here lies dude. He did good work until he fucked up and slipped. And he's in this bridge. So anyways, that was a cool ride. Got me a little ways. And then this other guy picked me up. He was super cool. It was kind of a short ride, but he took me to a Burger King there and dropped me off. And then I'm just standing on this on-ramp, just chowing down double cheeseburger. And this other guy picks me up. And he was super cool. Hung out with him for a bit driving. He was going like halfway to Sioux City. So that was pretty awesome. And he was telling me about some really cool stuff, some like four-wheeling races that go on. I think it's called like Ultra 4 or something, and there's races that go on, and he was involved in making this like video game kind of simulation sort of thing for that sport. Pretty cool, kind of like off-road, yeah, four-wheelers that you have to both rock climb, and it's like a race as well for speed, so you kind of have to have this like particular hybrid sort of vehicle that can handle both like the crazy boulder climbing and be able to rip shit on the straightaways. Pretty cool talking to him. So he dropped me off like halfway, and oh, here comes the first like almost fucked myself police story. So I got one more ride after him. At this point I'm on like the country road, just 40 miles from Sioux City. Kind of a country highway, and a police car passes me, and then it U-turns. I watch a U-turn and come back. I'm like, all right, here we go. And, you know, I'm not doing anything illegal. I'm just hitchhiking, and I'm not on the interstate or anything. So, but, you know, police, they like to stop sometimes and see what's up. And police car stops, and out pops this, like, beautiful blonde girl. Like, she'd be beautiful in any context, but a little bit more so when she's wearing like a police uniform, like in Iowa, in the middle of nowhere. I'm like, so I was a little taken aback, like, oh, damn. That's different. You know, reminded me of Sweden. Just being in Sweden, like hitchhiking, just, I never got picked up by one, but there's just these beautiful girls like driving trucks. The truck drivers were beautiful blonde Swedish girls. Obviously they're in Sweden, so they'd be Swedish. But yeah, she kind of reminded me of that. I was like, oh, okay. So she's like, you know, just asking me where I'm going, what I'm doing. And she's like, I can check with my dispatch and see if I can give you a ride. So she like went in her car for a second, came back. She's like, yeah, so you can either just keep walking, or I can run your ID and search your bag. If you want me to give you a ride, I can do that, but I'd have to run your ID and search your bag real quick. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'll take the ride. Which was pretty dumb. Didn't think it at the time. You know, I've gotten so many rides from cops, and also she said she'd give me a ride to the county line. I just wasn't thinking. So she went back into her car and like ran the ID, you know, that came back. I'm not America's Most Wanted or anything. So she's like, all right, let me search your bag. And I guess when she first said the search thing, like I've had that happen a lot where cops are like, I just need to search you for weapons real quick if I'm gonna give you a ride. And they just kind of, sometimes they just ask me, you know, but more times than not, they'll give me like a quick pat down or something. And that's that. But no, she started opening up my bag like a TSA agent. She popped out the gloves, slapped those on, and I was like, oh shit, she's gonna start dumping my shit. And that's pretty annoying because my bag is packed in like such a way. So she's just pulling shit out. But the second she started doing it, I remembered that dude in Michigan gave me some of that weed that he bought and was just like in the outer easily accessible stretchy pocket of my backpack. And I'm like, ah, shit, what are the fucking rules in Iowa? What are the laws here on weed? And turns out they're not good. So now I'm just nervous about that. I'm like, especially because she's getting in there, you know, she's starting with like the main compartment of my backpack and just pulling everything out. Like, I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, this is not like a quick weapon check, you know? Because that's what she should have been doing. I found out later she's only been a cop for like 9 months. I mean, I'm sure over time she'll chill out, but she's buy the book stuff. Take another sip here. But yeah, with the intricacy in which she was searching my bag, I was like, you know, she's definitely going to find it. So I'm just thinking now, like, exactly how much weed is in there? Like, what are the laws in Iowa? How's this gonna go? Am I gonna get a ticket right here? Am I gonna have to go into jail for a second? Is there anything else in my backpack that I'm forgetting about? Anything sketchy in there? Basically just wondering what the consequence is gonna be. And so I'm just trying to, like, you know, flirt with her and talk. She, like, you know, discovers my camera in there and she's like, oh, you take pictures? I'm like, yeah, I was in South America earlier this year and a bunch of good pictures and this and that. It's trying to be friendly, and finally she gets to that outer stretchy pocket, and thank God, like, I just got a big bag of mints in there. A big bag. Okay. Altoids, loose Altoids, and like napkins. So when I was in Mississippi, I was like messing around trying to make like a new case for my microphone, and I thought an Altoid tin would be perfect. And anyways, I didn't want to waste the Altoids, so I just threw them in a loose bag. So anyways, I think when she got to that bag, she was just like, what are these like slightly used napkins and Altoids in like a bag with other junk in there, just like wrappers and stuff. You know, I'm not trying to litter, so sometimes I just like... So anyway, she found like the chaos bag. So I think at that point she was just like, all right, whatever. Somehow she missed the weed, because the weed was in like, you know, a pouch that you'd get at a dispensary, clearly labeled like marijuana, like 31% THC, like a legit, you know. So whoo, she missed that. And then yeah, hopped in her car. She threw my bag in the trunk and me in the locked in the back. I'm like, God damn, so you searched my bag just to search it. This has nothing to do with like weapons or anything. And then the dumbest shit of all that was she took me to the county line, which was only like 5 miles up the road. So she dropped me off, and I'm, you know, just flirting with her for 5 minutes, asking her how long she's been a cop, how much time she has off, blah, blah, blah. You know, probably stupidly thinking, oh, I'm going to be able to get her number. I'm going to go smoke a bowl later. What's up? So she dropped me off and gave me the stuff back. And, you know, basically zero advantage. It's not like we passed any junctions or I was getting any different traffic. I was, you know, all she did was hold me up for a little bit, really. And so I would have felt like such a dumbass if she had found that weed and I gotten busted all... And she'd given me the option to just like walk away. So had I gotten like caught with that, that would have been so dumb. Risking all that just for a pointless 5 mile ride. But as it turned out, it was okay. And got a ride from this guy in a van with his 2 kids who was going down to Omaha after that. So he was going right through Sioux City, which is the same ride I would have gotten if I had just not risked it with that cop. Would have passed me anyways. But yeah, he got me to Sioux City, and yeah, walked to the center. He kind of got me on the outskirts and met up with old Liz Stewart. once again, if you, you can go look up her old episodes. She's been on the podcast 3, 4, 5 times. Can't remember how many times. At least 3 or 4. So she was doing sound for some traveling musician in town, some kind of show going on. And yeah, just started catching up with her and ended up spending like a week in Sioux City. She'd moved to like a different apartment on the up and up. About to start a new job outside of town. Yeah, just doing pretty good all together. Just doing like stand-up comedy and stuff, and it's pretty good actually. Went to there was like open mic comedy thing that we did. That was cool. Doing a little stand-up comedy, and yeah, she did a pretty good job too. Good jokes, and does the whole playing the guitar, singing funny songs and stuff. So good times all around. Catching up with her. Got a bunch of trip hopping coding, like I was mentioning at the start of the episode. Got a bunch done at her apartment. She lives in a pretty good spot. It's like right downtown. Same block as a Jackson Street Brewery, which I filmed a hopping episode at. One of the first times that I saw her in town. Did a book signing at that place, so she's on that same block. So right downtown. She's got a roommate who was out of town for the first few days, but he showed up and he was real cool. Hung out with him, watching more of the Knicks games. Actually, like Game 5 when the Knicks closed it out and won. Her roommate set up like a projector on the rooftop of the building and put flyers all over the building, like rooftop party for the next game. So a bunch of people from the building and other friends kind of showed up. So that was pretty sweet. Just watching the game like in style, you know. So had a good old time running around, and yeah. So from Sioux City, I'm getting pretty close to Denver here now. Pretty close to real time. Let me take another little sip here. So, yeah, there was a guy who messaged me, I forget how long ago. I guess he originally messaged me like a decade ago or something. He told me he's been following my blog and probably have videos and other stuff for a while now. You know, it's about to be 19 years that I've been living like this, traveling. Pretty much July 1st will be 19 years. Hobo lifestyle. You know, I was posting on YouTube quite a bit in the beginning and blogging, you know, every week almost in the beginning. So anyways, this guy was following that, and I guess he said he messaged me like a long time ago and probably had a little back and forth, but he messaged me a month or 3 ago or something and just told me that he was in Kansas City and if I was ever nearby to like drop in. And so I was like, well, shit, I'm in Sioux City. It's not too far. Kansas City's just 4 hours south. So messaged him, told him I was nearby, and he's like, yeah, drop on in. So that's where I headed to from Sioux City, which also started as kind of a slow hitchhiking day. One good ride and then a couple short rides, and then this guy from South Sudan picked me up, and he was going to Kansas City for the World Cup. So that was cool. He seemed pretty chill and got me down to Kansas City, but then he's like, yeah, I'll take you downtown, but first I just gotta like stop and say what's up to my friend, just take a minute. I'm like, oh, okay, you could drop me off here. He's like, oh no, just take a couple minutes and get you downtown. And this other guy was gonna pick me up wherever, so I'm like, all right. So we stopped at some apartment. He just like pounded on the door, and then the back door, and then the front door again, and then on the window, and finally some dude inside was just like, not happy. I couldn't hear exactly what he was saying. But he's like, all right, I guess we're not going in there. So I'm like, all right, I don't know what the hell that was. If I were to guess, he was some kind of drug dealer. He was trying to get started. That wasn't going to work for him. So he took me downtown, and yeah, then this guy who'd been following my blog and whatnot, I just mentioned, he picked me up. This guy, John. So scooped me up, hung out with him for the night and day, took me around Kansas City, just kind of touring me around, showing me some stuff, telling me about the history of the city and stuff like that. And at that point, I had already contacted someone in Denver about dog sitting. So a while back, I got on that Trusted House Sitters site. It's kind of gifted to me a 1-year membership. And then somehow my promo code, I think just got into the Google juice. Like, I don't know, because all of a sudden I got like tons of referrals. So maybe it was from this podcast. I don't know. I think it's probably in the show notes of this podcast, my referral code, but I think it probably just started coming up in Google searches or something, because I just got tons of referrals over the course of like a month. So basically I have several years of free membership on that trusted house sitter site. I guess if you want to use it, use my referral code. I tell it to you, but I don't know it. I think it's in the show notes. But anyways, I messaged someone in Denver because I've been getting back into trip hop and coding. I'm like, it'd be cool to like chill out somewhere for like a week or two and get some stuff done, and Denver be a good spot. So I'd gotten a message from someone who's like, yeah, come watch our dog. So that was my destination from Kansas City, and now we're getting to the point where it's just several days ago. So John dropped me off just before Lawrence at a truck stop to start heading to Denver, at which point I would have been 7-8 hours away if I'd just driven straight. So my thought was I could probably make it in a day. I don't know, I've hitchhiked across Kansas a lot, and there's just not a lot of like big cities. There's a few, but there's a pretty good chance that you're going to get a ride from someone just cutting all the way across Kansas, especially as you get further west. So I was like, maybe I'll make it today. Doesn't really matter. Probably by the next day. Nope. This is where there's 4 more police between that moment and now. So this was like Wednesday he dropped me off. So, yeah, waited at that truck stop for like 2 hours. And it was one of those like truck stops on the highway. So the only way you can leave the truck stop is by vehicle or walking on the interstate, which in Kansas is not legal. Something I kind of do anyways, and ended up doing that time because I'm like, fuck, I've been waiting for 2 hours like and no ride, which isn't like insanity, but usually I get a ride within like 30 minutes or so. And I was just like, you know, I usually have really good luck on the interstates. There's just, you know, much more traffic, and yes, they're going faster. And yes, you risk dealing with the police in certain states, but I'm like, all right, well, I just want to get moving. I was just baking in the sun. So sure enough, I did get stopped by a state trooper pretty quickly. He was nice enough. Like I've gotten really good at being nice to them, and they'll be nice back. So that was the situation. You know, he ran my ID, and when that comes back clean and sees that I'm casual and chill, like they're usually chill, but they still, you know, enforce what they're enforcing. So he's like, yeah, I'll drive you up a few exits, and there's another highway that runs parallel to Interstate 70 and goes all the way to Colorado. I'm like, I'm sure there is. So he drove me to that road off the interstate, and I'm like, all right, well, this is going to be slow going for a while. So I did, now I'm on like this back country road, and I did just post like a reel on Instagram and YouTube, so you can kind of watch that and see some of what I'm talking about here. Fucking Kansas, you know, it's a lot of emptiness. But yeah, this woman, like a mom in a minivan with 2 daughters, picked me up, and she's just like, she U-turned. This was like the biggest U-turn day, I think, of my hitchhiking. I think it was like four or 5 U-turns. People that passed me and U-turned and came back to get me. Her being the first. So she came back and she's like, you just look so cool. Like, I had to like see what your story was and give you a ride. And I was like, oh, well, that feels good. Because, you know, she was like a hot mom, like in Kansas. So she gave me a ride, like, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes, something like that, down the road. And that's basically what that day started being, was just like one ride after another, just to the very next town, like 10-minute rides here and there. So she gave me a ride, and then someone else gave me a short ride to the next town, and somewhere in that mix I just took a picture or video of like the road sign, just showing like how far, you know, the mileage of the next towns, and just posted it as a story on Instagram and Facebook. I think if I post to one, it posts to both. So anyway, I just did that just to do it. Probably posted some other stuff, and then yet again, one more ride to the next town, one more ride to the next town. And yeah, it turns out my babysitter from when I was 3 years old, who I don't remember from when I was 3 because I don't have memories there, but I know who she is, like, and she's on my Facebook. She saw that and she's like, that's my town. Like, so by getting off Interstate 70 on this road I hadn't been on before, I passed through Wamego, Kansas, which is where like the Oz Museum is. I guess that's what they're kind of known for. And as I learned, they have like a gigantic fireworks festival every 4th of July where people come from every town within probably 100 miles to see this giant fireworks display. Anyways, that's Wamego. And yeah, so I mean, that kind of was serendipitous a little bit. Ended up linking up with her and catching up with her in a way, meeting her for the first time. Like, she kind of knew me from when I was 3, but actually meeting in person as an adult, pretty cool. So caught up with her, stayed in the guest room for the night. She took me into Manhattan, Kansas that night for a little Chick-fil-A dinner, and then just drove me around like Kansas State University, just kind of showing me the town. I'd always seen Manhattan, Kansas on the map, and just growing up around New York, it always kind of caught my attention, but I never really thought I'd go out of my way to get there. And it's not like on the interstate either, so I've never really had an excuse to pass through there, so that was cool. Yeah, and then the next morning, actually, her and her daughter, or she was taking her daughter or whatever to an appointment in Manhattan, so dropped me off there in the morning to keep hitchhiking. And that was that was like a slow day for sure. And that day I dealt with 3 police. So the first and only 3 rides I got that day came pretty quick. One ride from Manhattan down back to the interstate to I-70, just a truck stop, and then I got a ride to another truck stop just a little bit further up. And then this guy was going to, the third ride I got, he was going to Salina, Kansas. And he was just talking all kind of crazy, just like, I don't know, he was just ranting, you know, like ranting about politics and whatever. So I was just, you know, just hearing him out. And but as we were going through town, like, we passed one truck stop and then the next, and then, you know, he knew I was going to Denver, and I just kind of thought, all right, get to it. But now we passed like a highway interchange, and that's where he was turning, so that's where I had to get off, and that just put me on the highway again, the interstate. So I'm like, all right, I'll just walk and hitchhike and hopefully not deal with the state police again like I did yesterday. But sure enough, it did not take long for one of them to come through, and this guy was like, he actually gave me a written warning, which has only happened once before, I think. And he was, you know, nice about it, I guess, as nice as you can be, and give someone a written warning and tell them they can't do what they're doing. But there's a exit just like a half mile up. We could see it in the distance, and he's just like, yeah, just get off the highway and you can go stand on the top of the on-ramp there, but you can't be on the highway. So I'm like, all right. It's kind of hoping he would have offered me a ride, or either to that exit, or much, much better, like further down the road where there's an actual busy on-ramp. But he didn't. So I started walking towards the on-ramp, but I was still trying to hitch a ride before, you know, that half mile was up. And before I made it to the ramp, another state trooper came, because, you know, it takes like 10 minutes or so to walk a half mile, especially when you're walking backwards kind of slow like I was doing, hoping I'd get a ride. Some other state trooper came by, and he's like, no, you can't have your thumb out. Like, just get up on that ramp. I'm like, all right, fuck. So I get up, and this highway entrance is in the middle of nowhere. Like, no, I stood there for about 30 minutes just looking at the map, deciding what to do, and not a single car or truck got on that on-ramp. It just logistically would not make sense, really, for anyone to be there. So I was like, all right, well, this sucks. Like, if I walk north and keep going west on that, like, parallel road, it's like 10 or 15 miles to the next on-ramp, where it looked like there's some kind of gas station. It's hard to tell how big. Definitely not a truck stop. So I'm like, I could do that. That's going to take forever. Maybe I'll be able to hitch a ride up there, maybe not. And then maybe when I get there, like, who's really going to be there? I'm like, or I can walk south and backwards 5 miles to get back to the big pilot truck stop. And that's what I ended up doing. So that took a big chunk out of the day. I was kind of hoping I'd hitch a ride on that 5 mile walk just to save me a little bit of time, but nope. Pretty desolate roads. Only like 2 or 3 people passed me in pickup trucks, and kind of surprisingly did not give me a ride. I don't know. Sometimes in those more random rural spots, people will give you a ride, but not this time, especially when they're going. So it was like dirt roads. So it's like, I don't know, dirt road, thumb out, pickup truck, like, I don't know, give me a lift, buddy. But nope, so I walked all the way back there, and yeah, I stood on that on-ramp, and even though there was like 2 or 3 truck stops right there, plenty of people passing me on the on-ramp, including one of the state troopers I had seen twice pass me without really saying anything. Yeah, I'd stood there all day without getting a ride. One guy stopped, and I thought I had a ride, but he just stopped because he had seen me like a couple times throughout the day and brought me like a tray of like a styrofoam container full of macaroni and cheese and pulled pork and some cornbread, which was super nice, and the only thing I ate all day, which was pretty awesome, but not a ride, you know? So I stood there like eating that, thumb out, had my little whiteboard sign, so I was going back and forth, just thumb, just sign, Colorado sign, both, just, you know, half Kansas plates, half plates from around the country, Florida license plates, and, you know, RVs, pickup trucks, vans, cars full of stuff. Obviously people like relocating across the country, like, you know, seemed like a good spot. But I stayed there till the sun went down, and a little bit longer, until it got totally dark. I went to the truck stop real quick, got something to drink, and then I even came back, but the street light didn't come on, because I was like, damn, I really want to get out of here. But just wasn't meant to be that night, so did manage to find a place to camp, which sometimes in Kansas can be kind of hard because it's just like a lot of grasslands, you know, but there was like a creek with a bunch of trees around it, so at least in that spot it was easy, so I was thankful for that. And yeah, I got several hours of sleep, but I was up right before the sun came up, first light really, and within an hour standing on the on-ramp in the morning, thankfully an 18-wheeler stopped, real friendly dude, but as soon as we started picking up speed and moving, he said he was going to Dodge City. Like, ah, shit. Which is actually pretty far away, but it's only 20 miles down the road, and then he was going south. So, and the worst part of that is that that exit's like in the middle of nowhere, so it's 20 miles further down I-70, but then it's like a diagonal shot to Dodge City. So while there would be people getting off at that exit, no one really, wouldn't really make sense for anyone to be getting on that exit and heading west. No one would be coming from the south and then get on there. It just wouldn't make sense for anyone to almost ever get on. So I was like, ah, man, like, I'm really stuck now. Like, my only option is I can either stand here all day and maybe someone local will be getting on here, and if they do give me a ride, they're going to be going to another exit just as bad as this one. And I looked at the map, and like a mile and a half up was a rest area. I'm like, all right, well, that's a chance, but I knew the state troopers were swarming. You know, I'd already dealt with them 3 times. So I'm like, all right, well, it's either I stand here all day or I take a chance. And usually what I do is, like, I'll always walk on the interstate, even if it may or may not be legal, because, you know, cops will give you a chance. But at that point, I'd already gotten a written warning, and another dude, and the dude the day before that. So technically 3 state troopers, and I don't know how well connected they all are. But I'm like, shit, at this point, yeah, I've already gotten the written warning. So if I get stopped, that's not going to be good. Because it's one thing to, you know, play dumb or whatever. It's another to be like, hey, we just told you not to do this, and here you are doing it. But I'm like, I got to take the chance, you know. Mile and a half. I can get there in like 20 minutes and still try to hitchhike and maybe get a ride before I even get to the rest area. So I went for it and walked up the on-ramp and onto the highway, and I'm just, you know, walking backwards as fast as I can, thumb out, facing traffic, trying to get a ride, and kind of booking it in between groupings of traffic. And then sure enough, a state trooper, it's probably like 5 minutes from getting to the rest area. State trooper passed me, U-turned, came back, and he was just like, oh, you probably know you're not supposed to be up here. I'm like, ah, shit. So yeah, told me I couldn't be up there, asked to see my ID. So the one thing I did, and I don't know if it made, maybe it made a difference, maybe not, maybe he was a chill, or maybe their system is whatever it is the first cop that I got the written warning from, I gave him my passport card. So with this guy, I gave him my driver's license. I'm like, all right, maybe this will be different. So, because it wasn't like the same state trooper, it was a different human. So he goes in the car, and sure enough, he comes out with a written warning. Doesn't mention anything about me getting told shit the day before. So I don't know if it came up and he just showed mercy, because he was nice enough. He was just like, he actually offered to give me a ride. He's like, I can give you a ride to the next exit, or you can walk up to that rest area. It's your choice. And I'm like, well, what's at the next exit? Is it busy? He's like, no. No, he's like, there's nothing around here. I'm like, all right, well, I'll just walk to the rest area like I was doing. So thankfully that worked out, even though I got the warning or whatever. Like, obviously my worst fear is that I'd already gotten the warning, and this was going to be the whatever ticket or whatever they do. But even he said, he's like, yeah, if we see you again, you could technically go to jail. Like, we don't want to do that. But so I don't know if he saw the previous one. But anyways, yeah, walked to the rest area. And as soon as I got to the rest area, there's a woman who must have just passed me, dressed in all pink, probably in her 50s, 60s, blonde woman. She kind of waved me down, and I ran up to her, and she was going to Denver. Fucking A. So that was yesterday. Was it? It was. That was yesterday. So rode with her, and that was actually kind of interesting, because we were just cruising and chatting it up, and stopped, and she got us some like Arby's sandwiches and stuff, and then crossed the border into Colorado, which we were both stoked about. So she was from Oklahoma, and going to see her son there in Denver, or actually Brighton, which is like a suburb a little bit northeast of Denver. So yeah, crossing Colorado, and that was cool. And then maybe like less than 100 miles from Denver, we just hit like standstill traffic, and we were diverted off of the highway, and she's like, maybe we should, oh, and right before we hit that traffic, like we actually switched seats so I could drive. She just asked if I could drive. She was just tired of driving. So I'm in the driver's seat, and she was like, maybe we should pull into this truck stop and find out what's going on. And I'm like, fuck no. I didn't say that, but I'm like, that's the dumbest, this crazy traffic. Like, she's like, we don't know which way to go. I'm like, I think if we follow everybody else, like, we'll be good. So I just kind of like brute forced, followed everyone, and just standstill traffic. And I'm glad we did that, because she would have had us like go to that. Would have just taken hours. So there was like a big semi that totally flipped, blocking both lanes of the interstate. And we were on like a parallel frontage road, just traffic totally stopped both ways. We kind of get past that truck and finally get up a hill and just see the traffic is just forever. As far as the eye can see, just, stand still. We're kind of creeping and stopping and creeping and stopping. And then at some point, saw a couple cars going westbound on the interstate. And then like first one pickup truck just pulled over the grass and across the eastbound lane and then over to the west. And I saw another one, and I'm just like, don't think twice. I just followed suit. If I can pull over the grass, and she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, we're not waiting. And she's like, why don't you back up and pull there? I'm like, what if we just go? Cruised over the median. Boom. We're back on westbound, clean and good, and just passed like miles of other people just totally still standstill. Like if I hadn't made that move like the other ones did, we would have been there easily for another 2 hours just waiting. So I'm glad I was in the driver's seat. Damn, it would have taken forever. And booked it. Got to Denver, dropped us off, just, you know, found some exit to get off and stopped and thanked her and gave her the keys back. And yeah, so that was yesterday, and I wasn't due to be at this house sit, dog sit until today, so kind of just kicked around neighborhood. I'd wanted to go to Woods Boss Brewery, but it was a little further downtown, which I was trying to get to, and I think if we hadn't got caught up in that traffic, she would have, you know, been cool with letting me drop myself off, because I was driving downtown, but I think she was just ready to get to her son's place, so didn't quite make it downtown, so it wasn't really worth like walking, backtracking there to that Woods Boss Brewery where I filmed that hopping episode years ago, and I still got like a free beer token. So I was like, fuck yeah. But maybe I'll find another time to use that. It's a little bit far from where I'm at here, but yeah, sometime before leaving Denver I'll use that. So anyways, just kicked around yesterday. I managed to find a park to stealth camp in, and yeah, this morning got to the house, met the couple. They're going camping. Met the dog. Dog's chill, and here I am. So I'll be here for a week. It's a pretty good spot. You know, it's not downtown like I mentioned, but there's several breweries nearby. There's a grocery store just like less than a 5-minute walk. Bunch of parks nearby, so pretty good spot, but be focused on doing some trip hopping stuff. Dog is super chill, so you know, it's dog sitting, just feed the dog a couple times a day, walk around. It's easy, and yeah, go from there. So should be able to get a bunch done. Denver. Yeah, bunch of breweries nearby, but yeah, like I said, I'm in the double digits. Got like $30-something and $10 a beer. It's kind of got to be strategic in choosing which breweries to go to. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know if I can get that $14 stout right now, but it is Denver, so I will have to go get some beers here and there. So yeah, that was the big journey. Thanks for coming along with me. North Carolina all the way to here. So let me pop into the outro and yeah, close out like we usually do. Let's do it. Alrighty, so that was the journey from North Carolina to Denver. So yeah, I'll be here for the week. I'll just kind of see how I'm feeling as the days here go by. And decide what's next. I'll definitely be going to Wyoming. I got some family out there. It's beautiful there. Thinking about making some other stops here in Colorado. Might go up to Boulder. Might cut across I-70. Do some hiking. Might even try to find another dog sit or cat sit gig. There's 2 people I messaged here, and one of them had a cat with an automatic feeder and an automatic litter box. So it doesn't get much more ideal than that. That's basically just like, you can just come stay here for free and cuddle with a cat a little bit, like zero responsibility. Kind of crazy. So I don't know, if I find something like that and I'm like in the zone of coding and stuff, then maybe I'll do that. Denver is pretty cool, but yeah, it's a little better and a little more cashed up to do the whole brewery thing a little bit. So I should film another episode. It's another possibility. So yeah, that's kind of my idea from here. Just kick it, enjoy, get some trip hopping stuff done. I told you about the places thing and suggesting places and adding stuff to your wish list and the AI search and stuff. All that's live, but there's a bunch of other stuff I'm hoping to get done this week. So you'll get updated that on the next episode, or yeah, if you join the Patreon, you'll get updated a little faster than that. And yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, not much else to say, but good times. If you're out west anywhere, you want to kick it or something, shoot me a message. Like I said, I'm loosely planning on just being in Colorado, probably Wyoming, and just kind of winging it. So that's it. Yeah, nothing else to say. Gonna go have a good time. All right, you guys, hope you're all doing great, and I will see you down the road. With all my shit straight, I'll get my big brain.